Good day and welcome to our 10-minute video series. My name is Mary Jane Rodriguez and I'm doing this for Ultimate Access. Our video today covers the SEMA Management Case Study exam that is happening in August 2018. Our pre-seen company is a company called Montel, and Montel is a multinational camera manufacturer based in Farland. Our topic for today covers the F2 syllabus topic, Topic B Part 3. Now, Topic B covers financial reporting, and it mainly covers consolidated financial statements as well as related party disclosures. In particular, Section 3 discusses the need for and nature of disclosure of transactions between related parties in accordance with IAS 24. A little bit of background F2 knowledge on IAS 24. IAS 24 deals with related party transactions and disclosures. The objective of IAS 24 is to ensure that a company's financial statements contain the disclosures necessary to draw attention to the possibility that its financial position and profit or loss may be affected by the existence of related parties. And there could also be transactions and outstanding balances with such parties that could affect the financial position of the company. So, who are related parties? The next slide shows us a little bit of a visual look of the different companies and relationships that could exist. In scenario 1, we have Company B and Company A, where Company B actually owns 30% of Company A. Company A would then be an associate of Company B, because Company B will have significant influence over Company A's management. Scenario 2, we would have Company B and Company C, where Company B owns 70% of Company C. Company C would then be considered a subsidiary of Company B, because there is significant control over the management and running of the business of Company C. In scenario number 3, we have Company D and Company F. Now, to give a bit of a background, Company D is a joint venture between Company B and E, so 50-50% ownership. And Company F is a joint venture between Company E and G, also a 50-50% split. This would mean Company D and Company F would be related parties as well, because they are owned by the same third party as joint ventures. Scenario 4, we have Company A and Company D. Now, if you guys remember the background, Company A was an associate of Company B, and Company D is a joint venture Company B has started with Company E. So, Company A and D would also be considered as related parties because they are owned by the same company, although one is an associate and the other one is a joint venture. We have another scenario, scenario 5, where key management personnel of entities are related. Scenario 6 would be somewhat similar to scenario 5, where a close family member of any individual that is in the scenario of 1, 2, and 5, so an associate, a subsidiary, or even key management personnel are involved in the transactions. This would mean that the entities involved are related parties. So why did we choose this topic? In the pre-scene, a lot has been spoken about Montel being a multinational company. This would mean that Montel likely has many divisions, departments, as well as subsidiaries that are included in its group structure. Montel is also in a tough competitive market, which means that growth may happen through acquisitions of a new company. And this would mean that they would acquire a new company to be their subsidiary. Montel may expand into a new area, and it could go into a joint venture with another company or acquire a company in that new area. As with all our 10-minute video series, we provide a Q&A at the end of the session, and today's question deals with the following. The director of production, Takeo Ito, stopped you in the hallway and said the following: "I can't locate Finance Director Endo Carsa at the moment, but wondered if you could help me. Montel has recently decided to contract out its sales channel deliveries to a local logistics company to save on distribution costs. The agreement with Veep Logistics is estimated around $5 million annually. In this agreement, Veep will manage deliveries of our cameras to the various selling channels like third-party retailers, independent specialist shops, etc., even overseas." I don't think it mattered at the time because Veep went through a thorough supplier criteria assessment and scrutiny, but my wife Hashmita actually owns Veep Logistics. Endo mentioned that we might have to account and disclose this as a related party transaction. Is this true? Assuming though that the rules don't require us to disclose, should we report it on a voluntary basis anyway? As with all questions, I encourage students to follow steps to write out an answer plan. You need to pick out the text of the requirement, build your response around those requirements, write down 5 to 6 points for each requirement, and list down any keywords or theories that you may want to use. And here's my answer plan. I would likely introduce IAS 24 as a start, and then I'd look at the involvement of key management personnel, in this case Takeo Ito and his wife Hashmita. I would also look at who has control over Veep Logistics. And then I'd cover 2 aspects with voluntarily reporting the relationship. One is of transparency, and the other is of confusing the shareholders if we do report on something that we don't really need to. And in the end, I'll provide a little bit of a conclusion. And here's my answer. Just to note that in my answer, I address Takeo as you because my answer is constructed as if I am addressing the issue with him. So here's the answer. Under IAS 24, disclosures are required in respect of an entity's transactions with related parties. We must, however, first establish whether Veep Logistics qualify as a related party to Montel to determine whether related party disclosures are necessary. Being the production director, you, Takeo, would be considered to be a key management personnel of Montel, since you have a seat on the board and are privy and even instrumental to many strategic decisions made by the company. At this point, it doesn't really matter whether Veep went through a thorough assessment as a preferred vendor or if you had participated in the vote to use Veep Logistics as our delivery or distribution company. IAS 24 focuses on control, and it becomes complicated when we start down the path of who controls Veep Logistics. You had mentioned that your wife owns Veep Logistics. It would seem unlikely that she would not have control of the logistics company, even if she chooses not to actively participate in the company's management. Veep will be considered a related party if your wife has control over Veep Logistics. There are 2 aspects to consider should we decide to report on this relationship voluntarily. The first is of transparency. From an ethical point of view, we should offer this information voluntarily if there is even a hint that shareholders will be interested in this detail. Whether the rules or regulation dictate disclosure does not really matter. Secondly, we could confuse the shareholders further by voluntarily reporting something that ultimately does not really require reporting. The relationship between the 2 companies could be exaggerated by a voluntary disclosure and could distract from real issues and problems that should be addressed. In the end, with the information currently provided, it would seem that Veep Logistics will have to be considered as a related party. Unless we can otherwise prove that your wife does not have any control over the running of Veep's operations, it would be hard to dissuade that Veep is anything but a related party. And that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video on related party. I hope your preparation is going well. Good luck for the exams, and I'll see you next time.